Okay, welcome back to the Digital Illusion podcast where we discuss important topics like absolutely nothing. What do we talk about, Justin? What do we even do on this podcast?
We tend to sound a little bit more excited when we're introing
Justin,
something.
what the fuck do we do on this podcast?
Hey guys, we talk about video games.
That's what we do in this podcast. And I think today's going to be a really great episode. We're going to be reviewing the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga today, Justin.
We are?
Yeah, but first...
Oh, I thought we were reviewing Halo Infinite.
Oh, you know what? We could do that, but you know what? I have more value of my life.
Yeah, me too.
But before we get into that, we just got to get a quick discussions about gaming news, like always. So just this morning, Kingdom Hearts 4 was actually announced. I'm really excited about that.
Nerd.
Fuck you, man. I'm pretty excited about it. Okay. It's going to be real fun. It's actually... I feel like it's going to do a lot less with Disney this time.
How?
I don't think they're going to be traveling to a whole lot of worlds because the main portion of the game might take place in actual Tokyo, Japan.
Really?
Yeah.
A Kingdom Hearts game that has nothing to do with Disney or like little to do with Disney? That sounds odd.
Like, obviously, like right off the bat, you see Mickey Mouse's like symbol
Penis?
on the keyblade.
Yeah.
And you see Donald and Goofy, but that's about all
penis.
Disney that you see in the entire trailer.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be really focusing on the Final Fantasy aspect of the game for this one.
Oh, interesting.
But
That'll be interesting to see.
so that'll be really interesting to see. Another announcement is Bethesda's pushing out a little bit more information about Starfield. Just recently they announced a new companion that's going to be in the game. He makes a slight appearance in the trailer that they first announced. So you see him at the corner of the screen, but there's going to be a character, like a robot character named Vasco. He's going to be like a pretty common companion throughout the game. But that's basically all we've gotten about Starfield.
Okay.
Another thing is Idris Elba recently came out about being in a video game, like his face in a video game. No clue as to what that game is, but he is hinting that he's. It's sad to think.
Well, they got
that's
Dwayne.
A huge possibility. That is a huge possibility.
They're gonna add Will Smith, and they're also gonna add.
They don't even give Will Smith a pickaxe. It's just his hand.
Yeah, exactly. You just get his hand, and then on the tip of it is
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock's face.
There it is. That man is gonna get bullied for the rest of his life now. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, I don't feel bad at all.
All right, and then this one's actually interesting. I want to get your opinion on this. The Sonic director for Sonic 2 just came out and he's like, "Hey, Sonic 2 did great. I want to make a Super Smash Brothers movie." What do you think about this?
Well, we already know how we feel about games becoming movies and all that shit. I'm gonna go ahead and go out a limb here and say that I don't really want that.
Well,
I don't feel like it's gonna be good at all.
If this is the Sonic director for Sonic 2, or like all the Sonic movies, he's gonna want to put in his Sonic.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine Nintendo wants to put in Chris Pratt's Mario.
No shit.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if you want to have more than just a Mario versus Sonic movie, I'd feel like you'd have to do more than that. So you'd have to make a whole bunch of movies. So probably have to make a Zelda movie. You'd probably just have to make a bunch of movies based off of the first iteration of Smash Brothers characters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know about that one. I feel like it's I feel like surprisingly enough these Sonic movies have been doing pretty good. So I mean, it's not like he has a horrible reputation behind him with these animated movies. So I don't know. I still don't think it's a great idea. A lot of people on
No.
Reddit do not like this idea, and I don't know why Reddit is just very against this idea. But Reddit is one of those people.
Well, it's also Reddit. You never know what you're gonna get.
That's true. It's like a box of chocolates. You might accidentally
All right,
walk into
and
a
then the
beheading
next thing that
video.
you have.
Oh yeah, so I don't know this company. I don't really understand shoes, but we were talking about the Halo shoes last time.
Mhm.
But now the company Fila, like they're sports shoes, I think. They
Yes.
made some Sonic the Hedgehog sneakers. A lot of Sonic related news this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sonic related everything, bro.
Yeah, apparently. But they came out with some official sneakers for Sonic, and they actually look like straight ripped out of the game and for real life, and it's really weird. But they don't look bad. That's the weird part about it. They don't look bad. They still look kind of stylish for a person to wear.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they covered with fur?
Ew. No, they are not. And they actually, IGN went over to the premiere of the Sonic movie, and they brought them.
Uh-huh.
They brought those controllers for the cast to look at. They all hated it. Idris Elba honestly wouldn't even like for a minute. Like he was really worried. He thought they were handing him like a fucking gerbil. Like you see him like physically take a step back because he's that worried about it.
Oh no.
And he didn't like he felt really bad because he didn't believe it was a real thing. He thought they were just fucking with him.
Well, yeah, I would too, dude.
So maybe just take that as some critical words there, Xbox. Maybe that wasn't the best idea.
No, hey, Xbox, that wasn't it.
Oh my gosh, though, it could be like Star Wars and just really force down the idea. They're like, hey, we
Force.
made this. Oh. All right,
That was a
moving
good
now.
one.
And Justin, I thought that we would have one fucking week of not having to mention it, but we have to mention it. More Halo news. Episode 2 of the show sucked. I haven't watched episode 3 yet. But I did actually purchase Paramount Plus.
Ew.
But the only reason I did was because the free time was ending that I had, and they were like, "Hey, please don't leave us. We'll give you like a discount, $4 for 2 months." I'm like, "Great,
Yeah, that's how they get you.
yep." And I was like, "Okay, maybe it's worth it because I can get the information for the podcast and watch the show." Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I will begrudgingly watch the show for the podcast.
And I won't. That goes to show you how much I care
Yeah.
about the Halo series.
Yep. But yeah, besides that, they have no obligation to keep me interested. Me and my girlfriend was like, okay, we'll try and make the best of it. We tried watching Star Trek last night. They refused to play the episode that we wanted to watch. We wanted to watch episode 1 of Voyager, and it kept skipping over to episode 2. And it also kept playing the intro like 5 times. So
Okay.
and then it kept crashing on us. So it was
Nice.
it really goes to show you that it's not me just saying my personal opinion about Paramount Plus. It really does suck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm going on a rant here, but I thought we weren't going to have Halo news. Instead of working on the game, they made a cookbook. They made a freaking cookbook, and that's what everybody has been upset about. Is like, hey, why don't we just fix Halo Infinite? It's like, nah, no. Everybody needs to learn how to make boa burgers or whatever they fucking call them.
Moa burger.
Boa burgers, yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually sounds pretty good, but I mean, I don't even know if that's in the book. But that's
Well,
it.
they made Pringles.
Yeah. But yeah, what?
There's Moa burger Pringles.
Ew!
Yeah.
That sounds
They're
horrible.
they're not great.
You tried them?
Yeah, a buddy at work gave them to me. And let me tell you, They don't taste like a burger, nor do they taste like a bird. So I don't think they really. Well, you know, they might take like
What
bird
would you
feces,
what
but
would you guess the flavor is?
it's probably close to like a Taco Bell taco that was left out in the sun for about 14 minutes.
Ah, Taco Bell tacos do not have a great lifespan. Great food though. Horrible for your health, but great food.
And your bum. Although I've never really had that experience. People talk about,
Yeah, what
where
is
it's
this?
like,
I don't get it. Nobody like everybody talks about the Taco Bell like squirts, but I've never experienced it.
I haven't either. I just think it's people with dietary issues.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like I'll be honest. I've been having Taco Bell the past couple days.
I've had it a couple times, maybe
It,
for like breakfast and
I
stuff,
might
just
be
small burritos.
I might be one of the only people, like we might be the only people who eats Taco Bell not drunk, you know?
Yeah. Not
And
at 1 a.m. and not drunk.
yeah. There goes our Taco Bell sponsor. Anyway. But that's it for news. That's it for
Well, no,
news.
actually, you know what? Real quick, I would say that we are good candidates for a Taco Bell sponsor. We're
We're
promoting people to go eat it without being drunk.
Yeah, we're telling you that there's not the necessary stigma behind it that you have
Yeah,
to be
there
drunk.
you go. See, yeah, we are good candidates. Anyway,
Yeah. But yeah, that is officially all the gaming news that we have. So now let's move on into our actual subject. And Justin, let's finally review this game.
what game?
It's a small game. You know, it's not very commonly known. It's only called Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
that game. Yeah.
So let's get into like let's talk some about the good things and the bad things that we thought about. You know, like I obviously let's start with the good stuff here. Do you want to like lead us off here?
Sure, I can pull it up real quick. I
Yeah.
didn't have my notes ready, dude.
Oh,
I'm so
okay. Well,
prepared.
then I will bring up.
No, I'm not ready.
I have my notes.
Hmm,
Okay. Do you want to go first?
please.
Okay.
All right. So overall, I think the main points to point out about this game is the graphics and humor and gameplay. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty broad of an explanation, right? But here we go. The graphics are amazing. Like, you can see the creases on Legos where they were manufactured, all of them put together. The color, the lighting, everything is made to look exactly how it would look in your hand, right?
Yeah, and you were mentioning a little bit in the last episode how these were all like made from scratch. Like these weren't even like made. These were all like they just literally started from scratch with this game.
Yeah, pretty much. And like they built everything and they put it all together in the game is what they explained it as, like all the character models,
Oh,
all
like actually
environments.
built the Legos.
Yeah, pretty much. They
Okay.
pretty much built the Legos in the engine and all that shit. And it really shows how much work that went into it, at least the graphics. Now, with the graphics, there is a mix between realistic environment and also Lego environment. Whereas you walking through an area and like the terrain is actually all realistic and real life looking, but then there's some like Lego bits and parts and stuff. There is quite a bit of Legos in those areas, but the thing is, I was only a little upset that there wasn't more terrain as Legos. I was hoping they would kind of push a little more almost Lego movie style, where it was like the environments were built out of Lego more than just the environment, but it does work really well.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
we've obviously
it's a very
seen the environments.
seamless. It's like a very seamless thing, yet like it shouldn't be, you know?
Yeah, it does coexist very, very well, and
Yeah.
you're still very, oh, what's the word? Just enveloped into the game. You're just in there. It feels very encapsulating, and very nostalgic to play.
Yeah, and like the graphics, the voice acting as well. Like I was very impressed that like it was actually a really smart idea because obviously they can't exactly bring back a whole lot of the actors from the movies, but they did bring out the actors from the Clone Wars TV show, which
Mhm.
they actually did an amazing job for the Lego like adaptation of it.
Yeah, it's really good, and it's really surprising to see good voice acting, and it's especially for a Lego game, what's kind of always been that mumbling or grunting and stuff, and we'll get into the mumbling in a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, that's more on the bad side, but
Yeah.
they tried at least. Anyway, so with the graphics being as it is, there is some ship levels that you're going on that are entirely built out of Legos.
Hmm.
So you're actually in those Lego environments and stuff, which actually is very nice, you know. So they do have a back and forth thing. Overall, I think environment and lighting and just building in general is just very satisfying and fun and encapsulating.
Yeah, it's like a very like weirdly enough, like with how much goes into this game, that is like some of the things that you really should look out for the most in this game, especially when you're comparing it to the old Lego Star Wars games.
Yeah, exactly. See, comparatively, for sure, to the other Star Wars games, you're gonna have a way better experience with graphics.
Yeah. I mean like
Obviously, I mean,
I
we're in
mean
2022.
at this point like at this point it's been a pretty like preset thing is that like graphics are just as important unless you're specifically making the graphics in a certain style that's supposed to be lower end. Even the lower end stuff is like
Right.
amazing looking.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like they clearly want to put a very hard focus on that like this is the new age of Star Wars. Like this is what it looks like now. And it's like, you know what? We're fine with that. It looks great.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and the opening sequence for the game that was really good. Like
Goosebumps.
it actually it gives you goosebumps. Yeah, because it's the mixture of all nine movies. Okay, all six movies, and then the random
Plus
three
the
other
off, yeah.
the random three films.
Yep.
I guess you can clearly. We're not going to get too much into it. Let's not to piss off half the internet, but you can clearly tell what our stance is on the sequel movies.
Yes.
But yeah, just like seeing like all that mixed in with the awesome music, like that beginning part actually like is just bone chilling in a good way.
It makes you excited to play it because it's been something that we've waited for a very, very long time.
Especially with all the
So,
delays.
yeah, and I mean, getting it after so long, you see that intro and everything's just happening, all the games are together, like it just looks so good.
It's like it almost makes you like wonder. It's like why didn't we get this sooner?
Yeah, and obviously it's a very big game and we'll kind of talk about that in a sec too, but
Yeah,
it is very, very cool.
yeah. And like to get a little bit more into the game, like the combat in that game is very fluid. Like I guess that's the best way to describe it. Really, is fluidity. Like the lightsaber battles kind of remind you a little bit of Jedi Fallen Order kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Like, and that's probably like the best we've seen in lightsaber duels in video games lately.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel clunky.
No.
That's the thing. And it's like all these games that have come out and I'm kind of it draws me closer to like something similar to The Force Unleashed with that
Yeah.
combat system
Especially
where
with
it
the
was very
Force.
fluid and it was the Force. Yeah, you can actually pick up things, you can throw them, you can do a whole bunch of things with the combat and it just feels insanely good.
Yeah.
And I'll say that a lot.
Yeah. The right off the bat after using the Force for the first time in the game, like it is very like I thought like, oh, this is Force Unleashed.
Yeah, and you can pick up characters, you can throw them, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
and you can throw objects at people. The Force is very well interpreted into the combat system very well. It is so good.
And like obviously us being us, we started right off the bat with episode 1 instead of just jumping right in the middle and doing that later, you know? Like
Yep.
but right off the bat, like the first episode just like teaching you about the space exploration by usually like what you would see in like a cutscene, they are like, okay, you're flying this ship now.
Yeah. It jumps you right into the action, kind of like how all of the Star Warses start out in space,
Yeah.
where it was like it just throws you right into the mix.
They are very good at getting you right into the game, like once you get in.
Yeah, and
Like,
like I said, the other thing that I found really interesting with the game was the humor.
oh yeah, that basic Lego humor is like right there. Like there's no, they did not miss the humor.
No, and it was fun for me even because my humor's wildly changed as I became an adult. It's way more dark now.
Our
All
humor
that.
is insanely broken. Let's get
It's bad,
that.
but I did find myself, and Brennan's told me this too. We found ourselves actually gut laughing at some of the jokes in here.
Like just out loud, and it's like I don't even do that on memes nowadays.
Yeah, and it's really encapsulating to watch this story play out in this new Lego humor style because it gives it a different spin, but you know what you're playing and you know what it is, and it feels like you're in the game. Like I said, and the humor really draws you in even more.
And the like just being able to start like I do like appreciate like I didn't kind of mention how we started at episode 1, but I do appreciate how they're like, okay, yes, technically like like we started at episode 1, but you can start at the beginning of any trilogy that you want.
Yep.
And that was like insane. I was like, okay, like wow, they're really pushing the choice factor here on this game.
Yeah.
And that choice factor is going to come in a lot in this review, actually.
Yeah. So with that, a lot of things that stood out to me. What I wanted to get into after talking about some good things was the mixture of open world to linear stories.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I kind of found it indifferent at times because like I was really confused because I was like I found myself at times not understanding what is open world and what's story.
Yeah, and I can
Like
see where that
it's
kind of
really
overlap gets confusing too. But what I found was really cool was they kind of gave you the choice, like we were talking about with choices. They give you a choice whether you want to first just push through the story and stuff or explore a little bit more before you do the stories.
yeah.
So that mixture of like, oh, I can just go do the story right now if I really wanted to speedrun, or I could go get some of these Kyber bricks, upgrade my character a little bit so I'm a little bit faster later on, or I'm a little bit more powerful. And I found myself exploring a lot more. And then I push through the story so now I can go back and go do some more completion stuff.
Yeah, and what you mentioned the Kyber bricks, so obviously that's another feature that's really interesting, like new for a Lego game is the upgrading system.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because it puts a lot more need rather than want to complete the game 100% because you got to go back and find those kyber crystals and stuff like that, or kyber bricks as they call it,
Yeah. It's
to
Lego, dude.
yeah, to upgrade your stuff. So like you'll have to go back and play through a bunch of missions just to see what kind of things you missed. Like they don't completely remove it, but this
Right.
like new kyber brick thing is kind of a replacement to the mini kit hunt
In a way,
in
yeah.
a way.
I would honestly put it more towards golden bricks or red
Yeah,
bricks and
yeah,
stuff.
that's right. I forgot about the red bricks and gold bricks.
Yeah, I mean that's what I would close it to because there are mini kits and stuff.
Yeah, so like I said, it was like it doesn't completely erase it, but it
Yeah,
almost kind of like it is kind of more of a substitute than the mini kits itself, because I think there
right.
used to be like 10 mini kits each level, and now it's like down to
Yeah, and
5.
now it's 5. Yep. So it's half of what it used to be, but there's so many more Kyber bricks now.
Hmm.
And the Kyber brick system I'll talk about here in a sec for me reminded me of something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, that Kyber brick system, there's what 1196, so 1000
Yeah,
like
some
186
there's
or
a
96
lot.
something like that. There's a lot to get.
I mean,
So
there's no they that's another like thing we could talk about, is there is no shortage of stuff to do in this game.
there really is not.
Even if you complete it, I could see like a bunch of people having way more fun just messing around with a bunch of the characters and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah. Which is where it kind of brings me to this point. The game's Kyber crystal system or the Kyber brick system reminded me a lot of Mario
Like with the stars
with
and
with
stuff.
stars because each star in Mario was attached to a different task, right?
Yeah.
And you when you complete it, he does his little fly around dancy shit and it
Hmm.
tells you what it was. So it was
Like
like
what mission name it was.
yeah, and like the stars and stuff all had a specific meaning and all that, whatever. So the Kyber bricks do the same thing with you, and it entices you to go get more. And obviously, you can upgrade your character with them and stuff, and then unlock other secret collectible types things with data cards and blah blah blah. But yeah, the whole system really reminded me of like a very Mario style. So if you are a fan of that like Mario style, I think if you've never played a
Yeah.
Lego game, this would be the Lego game to go to.
Yeah, definitely. Like they offer so much for new players as well. They added like just the smallest features are just so interesting to look back on. Like the fact the capability of purchasing rumors, which I actually took advantage of today. Like we were actually just playing this game right before the podcast, like
Yep.
getting like kind of like a mental space for like reviewing it, and I actually took advantage of this feature, is purchasing rumors to unlock characters and stuff like that. And it does so instead of like straight up unlocking the character, they show you how to like the steps to get to that point by purchasing a rumor, which is interesting. I don't think entirely necessary, but I mean like if you just don't even want to waste the time to uh look it up on YouTube, or even to cheat and look it up on YouTube, it's an interesting feature. And
Oh yeah, and
it's a bit pricey for the thing, but I mean, like I said, it's still neat.
once you start unlocking stuff in the game, like the 2 times multipliers and the 4 times and the 8 times and all that, obviously your studs will get up a lot quicker, and it actually makes it a lot easier. So in the end game, you're actually finding them faster than you would have just going through the story anyway.
Yeah.
So, and it's not just for characters. It's actually like if you don't know how to do specific challenges in each level, you can actually purchase a rumor that tells you how to do those in the level
Oh,
if you're
really?
getting stuck. Yes,
Okay.
and it costs the same rumor, which is like 30,000 studs. So that was something I also took advantage of, was because now I'm going back and I'm playing like the free play and I'm going through the stories again to get that 100% completion, and I'm buying the rumors because I have no idea what they mean, because the names of the tasks don't really tell you anything to do with what you need
No.
to do.
I mean,
So
like one mission, it's the mission of like they're really creative yet vague with their things. Like there's the mission where you fight Darth Maul for the first time in the Phantom Menace, and the name of the mission's called Better Call Maul,
yeah,
like a Better Call
there's a lot
Saul
of those like
reference.
little like one-off names, and I think there's one where it was like it's hot and cold, or like something like that. It's hot and cold. It was supposed to be like it's hot and cold, and
Yeah,
with Hoth and all that. So there's a lot of these little one-offs, and that kind of goes along with the humor. That kind of just like makes you
a lot
chuckle
of
along the
references
way.
in this game.
Oh yeah,
Like
and you'll
very
notice them.
referenceful. But yeah, like so obviously I'm really glad that they continued. There's a lot of things that they didn't continue with. But one of the things I am glad is they continued with the cheat codes.
Yeah, and
Cheat
they're
codes
not
are some
specifically super cheaty too. But go ahead.
no, I mean like cheat codes have already like I mean for most Lego games, cheat codes would unlock like cheats for the game, but like more and more Lego games come out, like it starts evolving more into just character unlocks. Which
Yeah,
I mean, like we need to go back to cheat codes again. I miss cheat codes in games, and this was a
yeah.
great reminder of what it used to be.
Yeah, and see, this game actually did it in a really, really good way, which was they took the cheat codes from like the old Star Wars games, like I was, or not just the old Star Wars, the old Lego games in general, with the 2 times multiplier, the 8 times, the 4 times, that used to be like cheat code related or red brick related, and they kind of turned it into the full gameplay mechanic of
Yeah, it's like
unlocking them.
yeah, it's like an actual like feature in the game rather than something that you would find out just by messing with combination of cheat codes.
And yeah, like they were a part of the old game systems and everything, but it was just a little more intricate in how you got them.
Yeah.
But this one, it really makes you go along with those. The cheat codes are the game, like,
Yeah.
and it just helps and improves your gameplay overall in the end game, like we were talking about.
This game I think truly was more fan service than anything rather than like actually being a point to like I mean obviously there's still a great experience with it, but I think this was more focused to be a fan service game, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I think
No,
everybody needed that. Like
yeah, I think so too.
it did a good job of being a fan service while also being something for new players who've never played a Lego Star Wars game before. And if you haven't, you're too young for me. Go away.
I mean,
There's like another like a few more things that are just like slight add-ons that I really appreciated, like Jedi mind tricks,
yeah,
which is really interesting, like being able to influence, scare, or distract enemies. Like that's I just wasn't expecting that. Like I came across that feature by accident because they teach you like it's gonna be a feature, like it's gonna be a feature in the story at some point, but like
uh-huh.
they obviously keep these features open to you at all times. So there's times where you'll figure out a part of the game that you just weren't supposed to figure out that soon, and it just helps, you know, like all it does is
Yeah,
just help you.
yeah, no, exactly, dude. It's awesome.
There was also the slight vaulting mechanic over like barricades and stuff like that, as well as barricades. But I mean, like we'll get a little bit into that with some of its like combat related stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, the slight vaulting with it, as well as perfect blocking, like and perfect parrying, I guess is the better way to describe that sentence. I thought that was like a really great like feature, especially when it came to lightsaber battles. Like it really intensified the situation at times.
right, dude. Yeah, and I think with all of that, I never really found myself using the barricades a lot, but it was a
No,
cool addition to see.
I was like, it's not entirely necessary, but I appreciate the addition of barricading.
I agree. Yeah, and it kind of made you feel like that third person Gears of War style kind of combat, and it was just kind of a little bit more like it felt like the game had a little bit more love in it.
Yeah,
Love put into it. It was like it wanted to be a better combat in general.
yeah, for sure. Like the combat is a huge point like to focus on as well. Like I even like talking about it a bunch still. I feel like we barely scratched the surface on that combat. Like it's really adaptive. It doesn't feel like a Lego game when you play it.
Yeah, I found myself at times kind of feeling like I wasn't really playing a Lego game, and I had to draw myself back kind of in that was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a Lego game because it felt a lot better, and there's a full combo system now, which if you do certain combos, you can get
Oh my
studs and
god, yeah, the combo system. The combo system was super interesting. A little janky at times, I'll be honest.
yeah, it does feel a little bit weird because you don't really know it kind of explains what buttons to press, but it also doesn't at the same time.
Well, it's supposed to like That's the interesting thing about continuing on with the choice factor. It's supposed to be your own combos. They don't even have a combo list for this stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that you can choose what to build in certain locations. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
I feel like it's kind of like it was almost like kind of an idea ripped out of the Lego movie
Yeah.
of like just like being creative and throwing out whatever comes to your mind, and like obviously they're not gonna just like let you straight build something from scratch and have it
Right.
work in the game, but they'll give you a couple of options in certain areas where like you got to build something to continue on, but they're like, okay, do you want to continue on to the left, do you want to continue on to the right, do you want to build a laser cannon, or do you want to build a water cannon? Like,
Right.
it's so interesting, like the whole amount of choices that you can make. Like, it's borderline a telltale. It's borderline a telltale game.
Yeah. It definitely feels in some way like that. Um, a lot more encapsulating though.
I really liked also just like a quick message, like while running in certain areas. I love that. More of that. I want more of that.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else of like good things that you want to like touch up on real quick?
Personally, I did enjoy space. Like I like flying around in the space and stuff. I kind of want to move into more like what was mid, like what was okay
Yeah.
about the game, what was decent, but also could use like improvement, and what was bad about it, instead of going right into the bad parts now. But I think I'm done with just what was like stood out or what was really good about the game.
Well, that's perfect timing because I am also out of stuff for that. Um, but yeah, I have very little stuff that I'm actually kind of indifferent about.
Me too.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. We took these notes separately. This was the fun part about doing this review, is because we're both like we didn't really talk too much about it
Right.
together. We kind of just like each just sat down and played the game together, and we're like, "Hey, let's just take notes and then we'll talk about it on the podcast then."
Yep.
And it's kind of funny how we kind of both have the exact same amount of like things that we liked and disliked.
Yeah, and I texted Brennan before the pod and I said, we're probably pretty similar on our ideas and stuff of what makes it good, or what's making the game really good, or what's making it really bad. I'm sure we share
Oh
similar
yeah,
things.
and
So,
that's coming from a place of we grew up on this. I mean, I went over to his house all the time just to play Lego Star Wars with him.
oh yeah, that was literally this is our game of our like childhood
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff.
I
So,
mean, like besides like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, like we talked a little bit about that in the last episode.
yeah,
But yeah, do you want me to start off with stuff I'm a little indifferent about?
yeah, go for it.
Okay, so right off the bat, like I mentioned this a little bit ago, I was a little bit indifferent about the fact that I couldn't tell all the time that like there was I couldn't tell what was free roam and what was not free roam, because like I wanted to like swap a character. Like I'll start heading towards like a secret or side mission, and I want to start doing that side mission, and then all of a sudden I'm trying to change my character to complete that side mission, and it's like, oh, you know what, shit, I'm in the middle of a mission, like I can't swap.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
That was my biggest issue, because like even like just before we were playing, like recording, I was like sitting there, I was like getting ready to do a mission, and then I about to swap my character to complete it, and I was like, okay, cool, I just wasted 20 minutes because I didn't realize I was in the middle of a mission.
Yeah, it does get kind of confusing at times. And that's where I'm actually kind of with you on that in general, making it kind of like a mid topic was, um, it feels very good to just kind of like roam around and play the story. But then again, when you don't know when you can actually like switch characters and stuff and you're trying to unlock certain things and explore and you can't change, it does get kind of frustrating because it's like, well, I'm trying to do this and you're telling me to go here, but I can go here. Like,
Yeah,
so that part can be annoying, but it's also the same as, just roaming around in general. So,
yeah, for sure. But yeah, like, do you want to take the next subject then? Like,
Yeah, so I'm gonna say space zones. So
Thank
I
you.
talked about space just a little bit, but space was okay for the fact that it's fun to fly a ship around and have those little battles and stuff, but what kind of made me a little annoyed with it was I don't feel like enough care was put into the space systems where if you're flying in the space above the planets, there really isn't a whole lot to do.
No, they really kind of took the No Man's Sky aspect of space exploration, where like, yeah, you can fly around to all these places, but like up in space, you'll probably run into like one or two pirates and maybe a
Maybe, yeah.
collectible, and
And then
then you're ready to go onto the planet. I don't know if they wanted to focus too much on space exploration, but I don't know. I was a little indifferent on that as well.
yeah, and what was kind of cool about it was you can sometimes get invaded by like a full battle destroyer type thing. I can't remember what they're called, but it's the big circle ones that you have to like shoot down. It was the level was called now this is pod racing on
Oh, like
Phantom
the
Menace.
Trade
So
Federation ships?
yeah, those ships will sometimes invade, and you can actually blow them up on the outside and then go in them and chase like a boss character.
Well, that's just a random occurrence?
I think so because I only had it happen a couple times,
I've only
so I
had
don't
that
know.
happen in the main story, so I guess that must
No,
be a
yeah,
random thing.
yeah, it does happen. And then with getting also invaded by like um, the pirates and stuff, there is those like little story mission or like character missions to unlock people that you can go and fight a little space battle to save the character pretty much. So those were kind of cool, but
Okay.
overall space feels like space, like empty.
Well, it's a good
It
thing
just doesn't feel full.
it puts that a little higher on my list to be towards good because I didn't even know about that factor.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about you and me, like playing, having different play styles and each getting our own notes on this is because of the fact of like I didn't even experience that. I had no idea that was a thing, but you did. You know.
Yeah, and I want to mention I did complete the entire story. Brennan still hasn't.
No, I'm still working on episode 4.
Yeah, I did finish because I was grinding pretty much all of yeah, well not all of well yeah, pretty much all of yesterday after I finished editing a video for the
Go
Twinamagins.
check
Go check
those
them out
out.
on YouTube.
I'm in it.
Brennan is in it. We had a little collab. But after editing that, I just grinded the game. I grinded today to just to complete the story and try to go back and get more collectibles and stuff, just to kind of get my overall experience,
He
and so I could kind of talk about the story a little bit more too.
he literally finished the story 2 minutes before we started this.
Oh yeah, like legit 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So for me, another thing that was kind of indifferent, I was indifferent about was like each episode was seriously cut down. Like each level was cut down a lot. Mainly, I think I've noticed it a little bit more in the Phantom Menace than anything, but there weren't a whole lot of puzzles in the Phantom Menace, at least for me, like that I thought about. They
right.
really try and push you through in the very beginning.
Oh, and it happens throughout the entire game. And the way I put it to one of my brothers was, if you think about the game as an entirety, there are 45 linear story missions.
Yeah,
Other than that, you have I don't even know how many planets you can go to. There's so many,
there's
and they're all
yeah.
open world. So in general, I think it was fine to actually get pushed through the story so I could, finish it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I just barely got through like the first 3 episodes, and I haven't even scratched the surface on planets. So
Exactly.
yeah, it like so yeah, it makes a little bit sense why they push it. But I mean, like for me, who was kind of expecting a little bit more closer to the older game, it was kind of a bit disorienting.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely felt a little jarring to be in the situation where it's like, oh, the mission's already ended and this has already happened.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was very, very curious.
But that was kind of like that kind of features into another thing I'm indifferent about. But I'll let you continue on with your next indifferent thing.
The next thing that I had was markers for collectibles. So when you upgrade your character with kyber bricks, when it starts to highlight different collectibles in the game, I actually, excuse me, I found it a little annoying rather than
Like just having those
helpful.
circle things around.
Giant blue circles highlight where everything is. And I said in my notes here, I would have rather had like the old mini kit system where it just kind of has little arrows that are colored to whatever item you're going for, rather than
Yeah,
these giant blue circles.
that would also, I think that would also be a nice like factor because there were times where I actually confused myself because I was sitting there trying to force grab things because I was thinking that circle was something that I could force grab, but I just kept grabbing other things. So I spent like like I spent a solid minute of my life just going eh, and kept grabbing everything around it until there was nothing left to grab, and then I realized,
Yeah,
oh my god, it's the like mini kit detector thing.
yeah, exactly. And see, that's why I found it a little more annoying. Yes, it's helpful, but it doesn't really tell you exactly where to go sometimes, and I got confused rather. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so like a little bit more into what I was saying about how things were cut down. I found it very strange that to try not to waste your time, like keep that in mind, they did cut the cutscenes down to like each cutscene is probably like 10 seconds long.
they're very short.
They're super short. And like there's a few things that you're kind of wanting to see in like a Lego cutscene, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're really just trying to like fit five cutscenes into one here.
Yep, they
And
go through really quick.
I mean, there's like a whole like I kind of would have loved to see that whole like beginning portion of like hearing Anakin and Obi-Wan discuss right before they start fighting. It was like I brought peace, freedom, like all of that like thing. I would have loved to see that in a Lego format.
Yeah.
But like they really cut it down to. I think they only cut it down to. The only thing Anakin says is, "If you're not with me, then you're my enemy."
Yep. That's pretty much the only thing they really say.
Yeah,
And then obviously they have their little dialogue during the battles, which can be, kind of silly or
yeah. I
whatever.
mean,
But
for most of the time, they did kind of also do that, where instead of putting it in a cutscene, they put it in that mid-fight dialogue. So
uh,
that's where you hear most of that. Like I was really like I think the most thing I was excited for with this game was the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fight. And for
mhm.
most of the part, like most of the dialogue movie wise was in that fight sequence, not
Yeah,
in
and
the
they do mention high ground and
yeah.
yada yada. So
That you can't not ignore that, you know.
yeah.
So that's really all I have for things I'm indifferent about. Anything else over you?
Um, I would say I don't think I have anything else. I was trying to think if I had anything, but I didn't write anything else down. I don't know. But other than that, I just feel like some of the battles could have been a little bit longer. You'll get to it, but the Battle of Hoth is honestly kind of boring.
Really? That's sad.
Yeah, like I was expecting a little bit more of like this kind of grandiose battle with Hoth, because I mean that's one of like the key moments.
Yeah.
But what it really was like, oh, you go kill your ATSTs, and okay, you go kill your ATATs, and that was pretty much it. But the ATAT system with tying your rope around their legs and stuff was honestly kind of,
Would
to me, it didn't feel very good because it didn't let me have the freedom of going around him. It really holds your hand through that area,
yeah.
and it says fly through these circles pretty much
Oh
to
no,
to tie it around. So it kind of feels, oh,
Superman
yeah,
1999. Yeah.
yeah, dude. It was very lackluster to me.
No, I
Which,
haven't gotten there
yeah,
yet, but like, would you say what was more fun, the Hoth battle or the Gungan battle in episode one?
the Gungan battle
Really?
was awesome. I love that shit.
I didn't like it.
I thought it was so stupidly, like, it was just dumb fun to
Yeah.
me. which I don't know if we have to say spoilers, but like
No, I mean, if you get spoiled for this, I mean, have you ever watched a Star Wars movie? Like, who
yeah.
cares?
So I mean,
There's nothing different.
no, it's more of like just like the expectation of it. It just kind of like it shocks you because there's a point where you literally just take control of like the Gungans cannon throwers and you can just kill a bunch of droids and stuff.
Yeah, that was like the probably the best part about that fight. It was
I
just
didn't care for like the protecting part of your
no
little dinosaur guys.
protecting missions aren't fun.
Yeah.
It's always like protect the most like incapable human being ever. like
Yeah.
like protect this man who has a gun but acts as if he has no arms.
Yep.
But yeah, I that's really all I have for stuff that I'm indifferent about. Now we got to move on to the bad work of this game. And
Right.
don't think for a second just because it's a good game that it's going to be perfect all the way. There's going to be bad things.
Yeah, and there definitely is bad.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of like little things that I wrote down, so it may seem like there's more bad than good, but trust me, there is way more good about this game than there is bad.
I mean there's a few things that were like personal things for me that I didn't like, but I mean when you're taking a little bit when you're doing a review in the sense that we're doing it, you kind of have to nitpick, you know? Like
Yep.
cuz most people condense like I think IGN like to talk about them again, like most of their reviews 8 minutes, I think. And
Yeah, they're pretty quick.
we're spreading ours out an hour long.
If that.
If
If we
that.
actually get into that, you know?
Yeah, but yeah, so there's gonna be like I think that's where kind of an interesting review topic here is because we're taking a very longer look into these games and talking more and more about what like may be an issue for you if you haven't bought the game yet, you know. But anyway, do you want to lead us off into stuff that was bad about this game?
Yes.
Can't be the better
These
bad
are
ones.
mainly things that just kind of like annoyed me more than anything. So starting it off with character following. During the story, you're going to have moments where you're following a character. But what I found really annoying about it wasn't like a hand holding aspect, but it was they slow you down really, really, really slow, and you're walking these longer distances, and you can't go ahead of them or they'll stop.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
you have to just follow them and listen. Whereas I'm kind of like I'm exploring. I want to just run. I want to get to the next destination if I want, you know. And it really slows you down, and it kind of just annoyed me vigorously.
Yeah, that was like that was another feature that I wrote down in my notes. It's like literally wrote down follow missions are never perfected. Always move faster.
Yep.
Especially in this one where you like walk and you're at a good pace and then all of a sudden your character goes into a full-on sprint. It's like stop.
Yep. It's like your character wants to move,
Yeah.
and so do I.
Oh my gosh, the
So-
Camino level is a very big like bad guy for that.
Yep. Yeah, in the Camino level, you're following one of the tall necked dudes. I forgot their name. Caminoans, right? Or just something like that.
Kaminoans.
Okay, dude.
You asked.
Jeez.
You fucking asked. Okay.
All right, yeah. Anyway, following them and through the factory and stuff, it's just very long.
Oh my gosh. But that
And
was
yeah, you
still
can't
a
run
fun
ahead.
level. Still a fun level.
It's cool too. Like it really feels like the movie one more, you know, and it was cool. I mean, in general, that level is awesome.
I gotta say, it was pretty lazy of them to copy and paste a bunch of the characters for Camino and just have a bunch of the exact same character walking around everywhere, Justin. All right, fuck you. Me just trying to bring a little comedy into the podcast.
Yeah, you know, the whole cloning facility. Yeah, makes sense.
No, I really am, like, I had to make a point about that because I saw a video about somebody saying that, and I genuinely don't know if he was joking about that. Like, I don't think he was kidding.
Oh no.
Um, but yeah. For me, a bad thing was super handholdy. Like, I haven't run into a game that was this handholdy in a while.
It definitely feel like this. It feels like this game was mainly meant for kids. I mean, obviously it's Lego and
Mm-hmm.
all that shit, but I felt like it was more of like a nostalgia thing for me to get in back into. It was like I'm coming into this game. Previously, have been playing the older titles. This was kind of like a re-entry to me,
Yes.
and I feel like they should have gone less on the whole hand holdedness.
And I don't know if that's like a feature that you could turn off in settings, because like literally at all points they are showing you controls, and I'm like, dude, I don't need these controls at all points. There's a few things like prompts maybe, but at this
Yeah.
point I'm far enough into the game where I'm pretty adept with it.
Wow.
I'm not saying I'm a master here.
That's cool.
Shut up. All right, you go.
All right.
Talk over you.
I'm gonna be honest here. The pod racing episode.
Oh, thank God this is in your bad things as well.
The pod racing
Oh
episode.
my
I was
God.
hoping for a lot more
They
than what they
made it
gave.
worse.
It is very, very much so too linear for me.
It's so
Where
bad.
it literally like controls the pod racer for you almost.
Yeah, well,
And like when I was turning corners and stuff, it would literally try to correct me.
oh
And
yeah,
it would
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
move me back into place, and I was like, I'm trying to go this way to get my damn mini kit. You put
Exactly.
this out here, why are you taking me away from this?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna get into it a little bit probably after we talk about the pod racing, but I'll get into it a little bit more. But I fucking hated the pod racing thing. Like
It just wasn't it.
I straight wrote down that they made it worse. Like, I was like, somehow they made pod racing worse. Even though I did finish it my first try, it didn't make it any easier. And honestly, I think that they forced me to win. I
Yeah,
should,
so
because I genuinely don't think I should have won that race.
I don't think I won mine either, and then it won for me again.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying there for sure.
But yeah, and to get into the reason why I hated it even more is that we could probably talk about this a little bit after we get through like more after we get through the bad things, but this
Hmm.
game clearly was made for console and with the addition for PC later. Like it's
Yes.
very apparent that this game was not made for PC. And like that basically the PC is just a port. And that's
Yeah,
very it's very like apparent in the way that the menu controls. Like you can't go around and click with a mouse, you know. You have to traverse everything as if you were playing on a controller, and I'm not playing on a controller. I'm playing on keyboard. So like you have to like go through with like WASD or the arrow keys and the space button. Like you can't use your mouse at all throughout the menu screens, and the key bindings for the mouse and keyboard are not set great for people who are playing with control. Like it doesn't translate well for people who are playing with controller. Like I had to customize my mouse and keyboard right off the bat because I mean my main button is a lightsaber throw, which I kept. I kept that. That wasn't a problem. It was the fact that
Yeah.
my main fighting button as a Jedi was Q. And I'm like, why? That's not even close to like I can't WASD and Q just to punch, you know?
Yeah,
So
I would have rather had my mouse, you know.
I had to keybind it to one of my extra buttons on my mouse. And so like they clearly like and the customization for key bindings is very limited. So that was about the most I could change was the main fighting.
Yeah, and I actually played my full experience on controller. Me and Brennan actually did talk about that. Was like, hey, you play on keyboard, I'll play on controller, and we'll get those separate
Yeah.
feedback. It feels amazing on controller.
Very clunky on
It was,
keyboard.
yeah, it was
Super
definitely
clunky.
made for controller. I can 100% agree.
Like that's why I almost put combo system in a different section, but I couldn't because the combo system, once I got a little bit more used to it, was good. But I almost put it in my indifferent section because for keyboard and mouse it's super clunky.
Yeah.
It takes a second to get used to.
So yeah, if you're gonna play the game, obviously use controller,
Yeah.
please.
Like buy
You'll
it on
like it a lot
PC,
more.
use a controller.
Yep.
But yeah, do you want to move on to your next thing that you hated?
Yes. Let's see. I already talked about the Battle of Hoth being
Yeah.
stupid. There's also some other flying linear episodes, or I guess levels, not episodes, where let's see, in the Sam Wessel one with Django, how that one flying through the city didn't feel good to me because it felt too linear for me. I wanted to fly around and, follow her and fly and do my shit rather than just go in a straight line and feel pushed to go into
Yeah.
the same position. It was the same thing as that pod racing one where it just pushes you back into the thing and it's like, I want to go over here and get this mini kit. No, you can't do
Yeah.
that. You're gonna go back under it.
And a little, I mean, it's a little better than having that moment where you're like, you have to fly around in circles just trying to angle your missile correctly to hit the, like, button open to get the next area to continue on with that chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, compared to the old games, but, like, it was very pushy. Like, I mean, at one point, they forced me to end it. I was purposely missing shots on her to make sure that I didn't end it so I could get
Yeah, I
thing.
found myself doing that too for
and
my first time.
it was like a little bit of health left, and I was like, all right, when I'm ready to shoot her, I will. And then it was just like, no, we're ready for you to continue the mission, so they killed her for me. And I was like, no, I didn't even shoot. It just killed her.
Yeah, dude, it wasn't a great level design, nor are those like super insanely linear ones to me.
Yeah.
The other episode levels where you're like flying through ships or like inside the ships and stuff, and you have to blow things up were okay, just because of all the explosions. But it still
I
is
mean,
the same
directed by
thing. It's
Michael
very
Bay.
limited. Yeah.
Let's see. What's another thing that I was a little upset about? So this is kind of like a few like small things that I wasn't a big fan of. Important deaths are very danced around. So like they really try and like avoid death as much as possible. Like if they can get away with not killing a character, they will.
Yeah, so I noticed that too, especially when, for instance, the Django Fett one. Oh, Ashley. Okay, actually, we'll go to right to the beginning. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
That one's kind of danced around a little bit too,
Yeah,
but I
I
feel
mean, you
like,
can't avoid Qui-Gon's death, but like they did kind of avoid Maul's death.
oh yeah, like they made his head and everything like all have their own personality pretty
Though,
much.
I mean, that was a funny moment, just watching him bounce towards you with his lightsaber in his mouth, like, kind of reminded me of the Monty
Yeah,
Python scene. That was funny, but yes, it's a lot of that. They even kind of dance him out, or dance around Shmi's death, Anakin's mom, you know?
yeah,
They
they don't
just don't
show
even
it at
show
all.
her.
Yeah,
And all the Tuskens survive. They all just run away. They just build themselves back up and run away. So
yeah,
it's like
exactly.
really weird. I'm like even the older games, they didn't bother. They didn't care. They were just like, you know what, this character's dead. X is on the eyes, and then they're just like, he's dead now.
Yep.
I think that's exactly what they did for Qui-Gon. Was they just put X's on his eyes.
Yep.
But yeah, like they really dance around that like important death factor. There's also no character customization, which very strange for a Lego game. I mean, I think this is the first Lego game ever to not have character customization. Am I right?
Yeah, I think you are.
Like
But
besides
yeah,
like the
not being able to
old
do it,
old
dude.
ones, but like still like that's strange. But yeah, do you want to move on to your thing then?
I actually, other than that, I think just some of the bugs got kind of annoying. I got soft locked in a couple places by trying to switch a character as I was also like jumping around and about to talk to someone. It soft locked me like 3 times. So I just found some of the little bugs kind of annoying. Um, you know what? Some of the boss fights were actually annoying
Which one
because
specifically?
just any of them that really have multiple stages.
Mm,
Sometimes I felt that was a little tedious, or it was like, okay, are you really trying to draw out this fight? Because I don't want to keep doing this.
yeah, I think that kind of happened with Maul's fight. To be honest, they somehow skipped a bunch of Maul's fight, yet also kind of drew it
Drew it
out.
out. Yep, I agree with that.
Um,
But I think that was like
yeah,
all my like biggest gripes.
I just have a few small things. Like for me, luckily, I didn't run into a whole lot of bugs. I think the only people who are really running into a lot of bugs right now is people who play on Nintendo Switch. They've straight up like got characters missing. That's how bad it is. Like I mean, the main intro sequence doesn't even have characters.
No
A
way.
lot of characters get turned into like it's weird. Somehow there's like a glitch going around on the Switch version that just turns all the characters into toilet plungers.
Huh.
Like if you have a lightsaber, you like your hair will go into the ground and your lightsaber will be straight up and you look like a toilet plunger. It's kind of funny.
That's
But
awesome.
there's another glitch where Jar Jar is just a tongue.
That's pretty cool.
But obviously I haven't run into any of those, so they weren't really a big issue for me. Jar
Sure.
Jar, I hated. I hate him. He's way more annoying. I hate him. Why? Stop forcing Jar Jar in our throats. We don't want him. He's like Ray. We don't want him. I'm not gonna get into the Ray thing. I don't want to piss off the internet, but we don't want Jar Jar.
I agree.
Small things again. Animations after getting Kyber bricks. I hated it. It's
Oh, like how it kind of takes you out and makes you do a little dance.
Yeah, it reminded me of when you would get a gold skull in Zelda. Like
Yeah.
kill a gold skulltula in Zelda, and it would like stop you to give that whole like message. I hated it. It was so. I was just like, please, I don't want to waste any more time. Just let me continue on with the game. The only time you really avoided it was like one brick that I found where they couldn't make you dance because you were hanging upside down or some shit. I don't know, but they wouldn't let me do it. So that was the only time that I found that you couldn't like get a
Yeah.
stupid dance animation.
Yeah, and I did find that kind of annoying at times too. Was just kind of getting stopped, and it's like there are over 1,000 of these. Is this going to happen every single time?
I think the camera angle, by the way, is a good thing once you get used to it. But the very beginning, I put it in my bad things because the very beginning, I did not like the camera angle. I found it very limiting,
Oh
honestly.
yeah,
And more and more I played it, I mean, it was fine, but I kept it in my bad because of this situation. I don't. So this is stuff that I haven't officially experienced, or what I would call a hoe experience.
nice.
So one of my hoes is that split screen is a huge problem when it comes to that camera angle, is because it's a vertical split screen, not the horizontal.
Yeah,
So it's very limiting to what you can see, and so that's a big problem when you're trying to play with friends. Um, and we'll get into playing with friends in just 2 seconds. I'm sorry. There's like a few things that are just like slightly irritating.
yeah.
Another hoe thing for me is split screen gameplay also really doesn't give two shits about player two at times.
Yep.
Because apparently in like one specific fight is the Anakin versus Obi-Wan fight. Player 2 has to play as like C-3PO instead of playing Anakin,
Yeah.
where in the old games you could play as Anakin. Even like later episodes, I think, do better with the multiplayer. I'm pretty sure you can actually do the Luke versus Darth Vader fight with 2 player, like where one person takes control of Darth Vader.
Oh,
I've
interesting.
seen that. So why did they not do that for like all the things? Like a lot of things are limited for player 2. Like
Yeah, that is
they
interesting.
pick and choose exactly what player 2 can do. And then I feel like this game could have had online multiplayer. They didn't have it.
Yes,
I thought they were
it
going to
should
have it.
have.
It should have. I thought they said that they were going to have it. I genuinely was sitting there like I thought they had said that they were going to do that, and they didn't. So I mean, it's kind of upsetting. That was specifically why I bought this on the PC. Like, I mean, Justin here made a good point that like I should buy it just because
Right.
it's good to have it on PC. But still, like I biggest factor was I was thinking that I would be able to play with Justin online. But then
Yeah, and I was hoping that would be the case.
and then they just took it away.
Yeah, they just overall didn't have it. It did feel just very sad.
Yeah. But that's really all I have on bad things, so I can really move into my final notes here.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll hurry and just say like my quick little thing
Yeah.
is overall this game has very stunning visuals, very fluid, very fun gameplay, and just overall the experience is just very fun. It's nice to have a Lego game with a really good end game
Yeah.
and open world and in general just to explore kind of like the Marvel Lego games and stuff.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
definitely the probably the best Lego game in the series.
So my final notes are gonna be a lot of recap because I had written this beforehand.
Yeah.
So just for the first time in a long time, the delay of a hyped title has really made it worth it. And Lego
Yep.
Star Wars has super evolved. And this game definitely is what you described, Justin, as a remaster reboot. Changing how Lego games will play and be made from now on, taking lots of familiar characters and formulas from past games, and twisting it to a newer generation for a new generation of players. The charm that you remember is all there. You can't not get excited while playing this game. It's a new approach into cover play, and like with the blaster is really quite an underappreciated mechanic. While also the option, like while always not the necessary option, it's still an efficient option nonetheless. The graphics are phenomenal. Everything, and it's almost impossible not to truly appreciate everything that went into making the game what it is. That classic Lego comedy is all there and better than ever, genuinely giving me a good laugh from time to time instead of yeah, genuinely giving me a good laugh from time to time. Instead of limiting certain key events to cutscenes, they allow you to play through most every point in the movies. Puzzles, and there's plenty of puzzles to keep your mind busy at all times. This game is definitely worth your time, even if you are new to Lego games. There's something for all types of players, like younglings and old. And I say younglings because I'm a little mad that they didn't let me slaughter younglings.
Same.
I truly didn't realize how much I needed this game. Like, I sat there and I was playing with it, and I just like was thinking to myself, I didn't realize how much I needed this in my life.
Yeah, it definitely came at a very interesting time in general. Obviously, we've gone through a lot of crap within the past couple years, right, with COVID and everything. And then there was also on top of that, what's even worse is there hasn't been a good game.
No, and the nice thing is that it's perfect that you say that because it goes right into what I wrote down here. Playing Lego Star Wars a Lego Star Wars game again has sent my heart racing in hopes for video games once again. Like, we haven't gotten a good game in a very long time, and this game has really brought my hopes back up.
I agree.
Yeah. All in all, for the first time ever, Justin, it's time for us to rate this game for the Digital Illusion rating. I say
1 out of 9 doubloons.
yeah, out of a 10 rating, we at Digital Illusion have given Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga a 9 out of 10 Lego studs.
I didn't agree. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't agree to use that.
Oh, really? Because you kind of fucking did.
Oh, I didn't know we were gonna use studs. I thought we were gonna say like grandmas or younglings or something.
Oh, we could just cut this all out and just say that, say the young part.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, give me just 2 seconds. Let me just. All in all, we rate this game the official Digital Illusion rating of 9 out of 10 younglings. Dead. You had to. You know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate the addition of that.
So there you go, guys.
There you go.
We rate this 9 out of 10 dead younglings for the new Digital Illusion rating system that is going to be coming to every YouTube near you.
Every YouTube near you.
Before we end this episode, we have updated our new photo for our Digital Illusion art.
That's exactly
it should be the new thing that you're going to be seeing every single time instead of the old computer looking cyberpunk like title looking screen. It was done by a buddy of mine, Jimmy Slaughter. I don't know if he's told me to link him anywhere. If we find out, we'll obviously let everyone know.
Yeah. If he doesn't want to be linked, we will erase all of your minds of his name. So
yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. As well as remember, I don't know why I'm saying remember, because you're just finding this out now. A brand new Digital Illusion Twitter account has been made and has been updated with that image. We will be posting sneak peeks of episodes coming up, or that have come out, for you to check out the podcast officially, as well as this will be a great opportunity for you guys to give us suggestions on stuff that you want us to talk about for your favorite video games, reviews, anything.
Anyway, leaving it at that, we don't know what to do from here, so see ya.
Oh.